Hear the whispers from within, balance to restore, ailings to relieve. Feel the nature keeping us, nature healing us, flowers, leaves, and roots within. Hear the mind calming you, soothing you, love and kindness inside out. Let the herbs from middle world heal. Welcome wellness, welcome wellness. It's revealed herbs, middle world herbs.
Hello and welcome to the Middle World Herbs Natural Wellbeing Series, where we talk about restoring and maintaining your health in a safe and natural way that incorporates both your emotional and physical sides of healing. We go live twice a week on Tuesdays and Fridays at 4 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and each week we talk about different aspects of health. Today's episode, we're going to focus on antioxidants, which are substances that can prevent or slow damage to cells caused by free radicals. Those are things that our body produces in response to toxins. We'll be talking with an expert about oxidative stress, foods rich in antioxidants, supplements, and secrets to longevity. My name is Deanne and I am your host today. I'm here with our special guest, Dr. Jackie Leone, a naturopathic medicine doctor who is board certified in holistic nutrition and a psychology enthusiast. Dr. Jackie, welcome.
I'm so excited for our second half of the Detox Talk with antioxidants. I am super excited to share all the goodness and answer all the questions. And I just really appreciate you guys having me here. Thank you.
Yay, we're excited to have you back as well. So for those who maybe missed the first episode you were on, do you mind giving us a little introduction about yourself and your journey towards naturopathic medicine?
Of course. I will keep it brief, but essentially lots of issues with digestion, anxiety, depression as a teen and young adult. And the real turning point for me after looking for solutions for a long time was getting a job at a natural clinic with people who were working with nutrition and herbs and supplements, mind-body medicine, and seeing really profound changes in their patient population, and then applying it to myself, seeing very similar changes and deciding this is what I need to do with my life. This is part of my purpose. So, just got on the Google machine, found a school, and the rest is history. So, naturopathic medical school, I own my own practice, traveled the world seeking other herbs and foods and approaches to health outside of, the paradigm we have here in America, and just loving spreading that wealth of knowledge, really.
Awesome. I love that. All right, well, before we jump into a lot of questions, I want to introduce everyone to 3 amazing antioxidant-rich supplements from Middle World Herbs. I have those here. We have the immune support right here. This one has Quercetin and Bromelain. And then we have the Berberine HCl40. And we have Berberine with bitter, melon, and banana leaf. So these ones I'll be going throughout the show. We'll talk about how they help with antioxidants. And I also have a free bottle of immune support to give away to a lucky winner today of trivia. So all you'll have to do is answer a trivia question. Stay tuned for that. So be sure to get ready to play because I want someone to go home with a bottle of immune support. Also, be sure to hit the follow button below so that you can stay connected to us. And a special thank you to everyone who has followed us so far. So let's just start with the basics of antioxidants. Dr. Jackie, real basic, what are they and where do they come from?
Okay, so if you didn't see last week's episode, definitely recommend watching the recording because I get into it in a lot more detail. But essentially, antioxidants, the definition is built in the name. Anti meaning against or opposed, and then oxidative stress, right? So there are these chemicals in the environment known as free radicals, or inside of chemicals are free radicals. Our body also produces free radicals just from normal breaking down and building up of stuff every day. And we have this built-in antioxidant system that takes these free radicals that are problematic. They kind of bounce around, causing cell damage, DNA damage to the cells, so they don't function as well. And the best way to make them happy and neutralize them and calm them down is antioxidants. Antioxidants are full of really fantastic molecules and they're willing to give them away freely. So all of these disgruntled free radicals who are unhappy, they get what they need from the antioxidants, so they neutralize and stop causing damage and seeking out DNA and things like that of other cells to hurt. And so what we're doing when we can control or keep down the level of free radical damage, what we're doing is slowing things like aging. We are preventing the onset of different illnesses associated to that damage, like arthritis, Alzheimer's, cardiovascular disease, immune stuff. So antioxidants are kind of nature's, gift, I think, in food and herbs that just help our bodies keep emptying their cup, which is another reference to last week. But basically keeping all of that damage at bay, or at the very least slowing it significantly.
Okay, awesome. That's really good. And anyone who's jumping on, you can also ask questions to Dr. Jackie, so it doesn't have to be just me asking them. If you have any questions, go ahead and type them in the chat area. And Abby, you said true, but I don't know what that's in reference to. So if you want to tell us what that's in reference to,
We're probably jumping the gun on the trivia.
Maybe she was jumping the gun. That's what I was thinking. Is that a jump the gun on the giveaway? Well, it's not a true or false this week, so we got you.
Uh-oh.
It is an A, B, C, though. It's multiple choice. You still have, I think, a 1 in 3 chance of winning. So don't worry, it's coming up. All right. Well, let's talk about our bodies and how they use antioxidants to neutralize free radicals. Where do those free radicals even come from?
So free radicals are very common, again, just from normal metabolic processes. But when we're talking about free radicals that can be even more damaging than just the everyday wear and tear of our own body functioning, it's coming from lots of radiation. So people who are around and or work with radioactive things or x-rays a lot, radiology techs, that's why it's so important to wear the vests and things like that for protection. Cigarette smoking is another big one for free radicals. Air pollutants, right? So think of anything that's really in the air. So aerosols, perfumes, colognes, all the stuff that we kind of are addicted to smelling good with, unfortunately do cause a lot of free radicals. And so if, you're hypersensitive to smells, that's probably why. Also lots of chemicals, so epoxies, cleaning chemicals, anything that's really essentially just not natural is going to cause, the more unnatural, the more free radical content the substance will probably have. And antioxidants are a great way to address that. And you did ask me before, which I realized I didn't really get to, where do we get antioxidants? And antioxidants, just eat the rainbow. The more colorful your plate or your diet in general, the more antioxidants you're getting. One of the most, I just try to remember the letter C when I think of antioxidants, because vitamin C, citrus fruit, cruciferous vegetables, they all start with the letter C. And cruciferous are things like broccoli, cauliflower, kale, Brussels sprouts, right? So there are tons more antioxidants out there, but that's kind of a quick cheat sheet to an easy kind of group of foods that we can look for. Foods high in vitamin C, citrus fruit foods, and cruciferous foods. Also vitamin E, selenium, carotenoids, all these great things, again, all found in the rainbow.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, and last week our doctor was saying red. Think about a lot of red fruits too for a good antioxidant. Yeah. So and definitely eating the rainbow. And
yes, I totally agree.
Yeah. So with people who have jobs where, let's say their job is cleaning, hotel rooms, or they're building something with epoxy like surfboards or something. I don't even know if I'm right in the chemicals that are being used, but so
no, you're absolutely right.
If your job puts you in a place where you're around a lot of free radicals, you need to really be focused on eating better. Is that right?
Well, yeah, it's twofold, right? So when we want to prevent as much as possible, not, with day-to-day good diet, and ideally removing other things, like we're not going to work in epoxy 8 hours a day and then go home and smoke cigarettes for the other 8 hours before we fall asleep, because then it's like double damage. So preventative that way, but also ventilation. If you have to have a job, we have to work, we all have to pay bills, right? So if you have to have a job, or your job is located, or your home is located in like an airstream of an airport or something like that, where you're just getting exposed constantly, the best thing to do is wear protective gear when you're at work, right? So ventilators and things to make sure that the bad stuff is staying out and only fresh air is getting in. Make sure there's lots of windows open, lots of fans moving, HEPA filters on, air filters are on at home. Filters are the biggest thing too. And just, again, the fresh air coming in and recirculating to really clear out anything that could be potentially sitting in your airspace where you're re-inhaling. That's going to be really, really helpful if you have to have a job or a lifestyle that's related to being in harm's way in that, you know, regard. And the chemical burden is what it's called, the chemical burden regard. So I also think it's important to not to sleep near things that are off-gassing, because that's passive exposure. So if we can control our sleep environment with fresh air, like a humidifier, an air filter, circulation, oscillating fan, something like that, that's really going to help too.
Okay, yeah, that's super smart. What is an item that would be off-gassing while you sleep? I don't really know what that is.
It could be anything. So I have some artist friends who do finished tables and work on furniture in one room and then sleep in the next. All that, the air duct system is shared. And so that epoxy is drying and curing, right? You know, just last month, we had to redo the tub and I had to have all the windows open because it was just the smell. You know, I was getting a headache. I even stayed away from home for a couple of days while it off-gassed. So it's things like that, normal repairs at home, or again, like you brought up, your job. If it's around you and you can get as much fresh air as possible, for sure.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's really good. Or if you live right by a freeway, maybe making sure you have an air filter in your house. Okay.
Yes.
That's really good.
Maybe more than one.
Maybe more than
one.
Yeah, maybe more than one. Exactly. Where do these bad free radicals live in our body? And what do they do to us?
That is a great question. Okay. So the way I think of me and my analogies, right? The way I think of every cell in our body, it's like a little office. And you know how you have your front office, you have your back office, your HR department, maybe sales or retail. Like there are different sections and each section has its own job. However, all sections work together to facilitate one big job of the whole company, right? Well, our cells are the same way. So we have in each cell doing its main job. Maybe it's a liver cell to filter or a skin cell to protect and make vitamin D, whatever its job is, whatever the business's job is. There are different compartments, different, areas of the office, if you will. And one of the major areas or office spaces within, the building that is the cell is called the mitochondria. The mitochondria is known as the powerhouse of the cell. It's where things are utilized to make energy. And that's where free radicals, because all that breaking down of things and building up into energy, breaking down glucose into ATP, for example, or sugar into energy, they all, again, normal metabolism has free radicals. And so that's where they're released, is in the mitochondria of the cell. So where we get our energy is also where sometimes damage is occurring in our office building, if you will. So we really want to focus on supporting the mitochondria with antioxidants, alkaloids, and all the stuff we're going to talk about today.
Awesome. All right, Abby wants to know, are salt lamps okay? And I feel like the answer is yes, because you have one behind you.
If you can't tell, salt lamps are great. I personally love salt lamps. Na plus is salt. That's the sodium aspect of salt, right? And so it has to do more with like ionic charges and purifying the air and things like that. Just salt kills bacteria. Whenever we have inflammation in a wound or our ears pierced, or salt water is great. Go swim in the ocean. Oh, gargle with salt water to kill the bacteria in your throat. So having a salt lamp on, the heat element with the salt, it's releasing that into the air and then cleaning the air passively that way, and offering awesome light, ambient light.
Yeah, cool.
Good question,
Abby. All right, well, I have with me the Middle World Immune Support with Quercetin and Bromelain. And this formula includes 500 milligrams of Corsetin per capsule and 100 milligrams of Bromelain. Dr. Jackie is going to explain the benefits of these ingredients. The bottle also includes 60 veggie capsules, and a dosage is 1 capsule a day. It's $19.99 on Amazon, but for our live audience right now, you guys get an additional 20% off only during this live. So make sure you scoop it up during the live. And now let's spend just a few minutes talking about quercetin. So Dr. Jackie, why does that pop up so often when we talk about antioxidants?
So, and I hope this isn't splicing hairs here, but the way that I was taught to pronounce it is quercetin. It's a
Quercetin.
chunky
No, thank
word.
you. I've Googled pronouncing it like 100 times, and I swear I used to say quercetin because that's how it looks like it's written with a QU, and then my little like Google thing was like quercetin. So, so how am I supposed to say? How do you say it?
And again, you know, maybe the rest of the world does pronounce it that way. In my school and in my little bubble of naturopathic medicine, I pronounce it quercetin.
Quercetin. Okay.
Yeah, quercetin. So I mean, but hey, tomato. So when I say it,
I'll butcher it all night long.
So quercetin is it's a very powerful antioxidant, and like we just talked about with antioxidants, what do? They freely give their extra electrons to really angry, upset free radicals that are causing a lot of damage, quelling them, making them happy. So quercetin is a perfect example of one of those antioxidants. Remember I said eat the rainbow? Or quercetin is this bright yellow. It's really helpful with, like I said, antioxidant, but anti-inflammatory as well. So remember, oxidative stress from free radicals is what we were just talking about, very important, but inflammation, right? Think about when your joints get angry and swollen, or anything, your gastrointestinal tract can get angry and swollen and inflamed. And so this is a fantastic way, something like quercetin in foods and in supplements, to help with that process of antioxidant anti-inflammatory activity in the body. And it's also just very highly studied, which in science and in health we feel comforted by because we kind of can back it up with proof. And so that's why when you research it, it tends to be one of the first things to pop up if you were to look up antioxidant supplement or something like that. There's a standard handful, and quercetin is at the very top of the list for sure.
Okay, so if we're not getting it through a supplement, can we get that anywhere through our diet? Like what has that? Any natural sources?
Yeah, and so I was debating whether or not to share this because I got some winos out there, I'm sure, but believe it or not, red wine has a lot of quercetin. It's a great resource. Please don't use it as a free will to drink a whole bottle and say I'm getting my antioxidants, because you are, but you're also getting oxidative stress from the alcohol. So it's kind of like a neutral, I would say, red wine. But anyhow, the most natural, powerful concentration of quercetin is found in red onion and in onion in general, or the allium family. It's also really high in different fruits and vegetables, spinach, kale, and things like that. So it just, it depends also where it's grown, because some foods can have higher levels of quercetin depending on the time of year and the soil and all that good stuff.
Okay, cool. So we did get a question that came in from Disney, and I think we are going to get more into berberine, but if you want to address it right now, she said, do you know of any interactions with metformin and berberine?
Yeah, there definitely is, and we're going to get into berberine a little bit, but I think right now, just to address the question, berberine lowers blood sugar, and naturally it's kind of like nature's complement to insulin, which naturally lowers blood sugar as well. So if you remember from last week, we eat a lot of food, and then sugar is put into the highway system of our blood, right? And then insulin opens the door to the cell to allow the blood sugar into the cell to do its job, right? It's like putting gas in our tank of our car. And so when that slows down, it's called insulin resistance. You're resisting the door opening to the cell. The insulin's not working as well. So traditional, or I guess conventional medicine, uses metformin. It's a drug, and it helps balance blood sugar and make you more sensitive to your own insulin. Well, berberine does the same thing. And so if you're taking something that's going to sensitize to insulin, and like metformin, and then you're taking something on top of that that does the same exact thing, what it's called in pharmacology is potentiation. Things are making things work at a higher potential. So your blood sugar, if it's high and you're taking a drug to make it low, an herb to make it low, if it gets too low, you can get hypoglycemia, where you don't have enough blood sugar to function. And you start shaking and you have a blood sugar attack and you need juice or fruit or something really sweet really quickly to get that blood sugar back up to normal. So, and we're going to talk about it a little bit later, but all these herbs and natural substances that work this well, they're mimicked in drugs. So personally, I would never recommend taking a pharmaceutical and a nutraceutical or supplement that do the same thing. It's like taking a double dose of metformin, right? It's like taking 5 aspirin instead of 2 or something like that. If you know, it had a blood thinning effect, with which quercetin does as well. So you don't want to take it with anti-clotting medication, right? So there are some interactions just because the plants are so good at doing what they do. But again, we can get into more detail, or you can ask more questions. I'm happy to answer. So yeah, please, please, please know that there are what are called contraindications, or people or health issues for why you wouldn't want to take a specific herb or mix a medication in an herb. Definitely.
Probably, I mean, this is my training as a non-doctor, is always to say, consult your doctor, right? So anyone that's on medication probably should do that too, just before.
Definitely always consult your doctor. Yeah, there should be like a big disclaimer for every episode. Like, yes, I'm a doctor, I'm answering questions, I'm giving, you know, factual evidence and things, but every person's biodiversity or unique biology is so specific that somebody over here might be able to handle both, but somebody over here might be hypersensitive to both. So I don't like to make any umbrella statements or, you know, any end all be all, take this, don't take this. Like you said, always talk to your doctor, for sure.
That's a good answer. All right. So then 360 Savvy says, quercetin should not be taken with I don't know if I'll pronounce it right, Exerto, which is a blood thinner, question mark. So could you take it with a blood thinner? Xarelto
is the name. So, and it's asking if quercetin can be taken with it. Is that the question?
Yeah. Could you take it with that?
So again, this is where you would consult your doctor, because it does have such a powerful antioxidant, anti-inflammatory, and sometimes can, you know, anti-clot ability, that if you're taking something that's already meant to do that, we don't want to make it worse, right? We don't want to double up if we don't have to and potentially cause problems. So yeah, definitely talk to your doctor.
Okay, cool. Thank you guys for your questions. All right, so you were talking about a lot of the studies that have been looking into quercetin's numerous benefits. So inflammation, heart health, even anti-cancer properties. Can you tell us a little bit more about those studies?
Yeah, of course. So I actually wrote down the journal, so my eyes might dart. But anybody interested in looking, if you're a science nerd like me and you love reading, I found some fantastic articles. Check out the American Journal of Clinical Nutrition, all about the anti-cancer activity. The British Journal of Nutrition talks about both say this 10 times fast, right? Atherosclerosis and heart disease. The Alternative Medicine Review talks about both. And the Journal of Cardiovascular Pharmacology obviously talks about heart protection and preventing cardiovascular issues, you know, like an MI or heart attack, also stroke, which is a blood issue. But again, it's like a heart attack in the brain. So anyway, so long considered. Quercetin was one of the first nutrients looked at, actually, by different institutions, and they wanted to study, why do plants have protective mechanisms, and why do plants, like, how do they protect themselves? How do they kill bacteria that get on them? How do they kill pests? And how do they protect from the sun? And all these things. We found that quercetin and berberine, which we'll talk about soon, are natural ingredients in plants that we wondered, if they're doing that for the plant, can they do that in humans? And the short answer is yes. And not only can it have the same protective mechanisms in a person as it does in the plant, right? But it's got all this cascade of other things that are happening. So one of the biggest with quercetin is anti-tumor growth, because it's seeking out these mutated cells and preventing them from growing more, right? Because when we think of like a tumor or what cancer is, it's a bunch of mutated cells that became overgrown. The body makes them every day, just like free radicals. It's nothing to be crazy scared about in a normal biological process. The concern happens when it gets so much that the body can't keep up. And quercetin is so cool because it literally seeks out these cells that are mutated, maladapted, growing too fast, and seeks them out like a heat-seeking missile, kills them, keeps them under control. And so it's very, very promising to prevent things like that, especially, certain cancers are more sensitive to quercetin than others. So breast cancer, colon cancer, prostate cancer, ovarian cancer, endometrial cancer. If you notice, there's a trend there, a lot of hormonal stuff. But they also protect against bad cholesterol damage. So those of you listening, either yourself or someone you know has high cholesterol or struggles with high cholesterol, quercetin is fantastic for that. It just does so many cool things in the body that it's just so highly studied. And that's why we have a ton of research on quercetin specifically. And quercetin and bromelain as a complement, which I think we're going to talk about.
Yeah, that's so cool. So it's like either eat a whole bunch of red onions or take some of these. This
really.
one though, it's called immune support, and it's got the 500 milligrams of quercetin. So why is it immune support? What's the connection there between our immunity and quercetin?
Great question. So quercetin, it prevents our immune cells in our body from making lots of histamine. And histamine is what we make when we have lots of allergies or a cold or a flu. And so when our body can release less, then our immune system won't be as triggered, right? So we won't see allergic reactions. We won't see the seasonal allergies. We won't see the upper respiratory issues like the sinusitis and the watery eyes and the sneezing and things like that when taking quercetin. So it reduces symptoms associated to all that stuff. Also swelling of the lips and face, swelling of the neck and the lymph nodes. So quercetin is fantastic for the immune system. And speaking of the 500 milligrams, I did want to make a note. Most of us get about 40 to 50 milligrams in our diet in a standard day. And that's just the standard American diet. So it's slightly more if you do eat a plant-based diet or lots of fruits and veggies, and it's slightly less if you eat a lot more convenience foods, packaged foods. But all the studies that I talked about, all the journals I talked about, they all studied dosages between 500 milligrams and 1,000 milligrams. And those are the most effective for treatment. So when I saw in the bottle that it was 500 milligrams, I thought that was really cool because it's a therapeutic dose, right? It's perfect. So you could take 1 a day for maintenance or 2 a day when you need, of course, when you have your doctor's okay, to help address any acute issues or prevent, any issues you might see happening or starting with yourself. So the 500 milligrams is chef's kiss. Yeah, that's exactly where you want to be.
Perfect. Awesome. So what about bromelain? So why is that added? What's the benefit of adding that with quercetin?
Man, bromelain is, they're like the best duo there is when it comes to anti-inflammatories. I just think of them like, I don't know, back to back, arms crossed, like, 2 peas in a pod, partners in crime, if you will. Because bromelain is the natural enzyme in pineapple. It's found very heavily in pineapple and pineapple stem. And when studied, they looked at when we're taking it, what it does in the body. It's got amazing enzyme activity. And enzyme are kind of like the little cleavers of the body that break stuff up. So we need enzymes when we eat food to break up our food. We need enzymes for our joints to break up scar tissue and joints, right? So when we're taking bromelain or eating it regularly, it's great. It's going to help on all levels. But when bromelain and quercetin are put together, it's called a symbiotic relationship where one makes the other work more effectively, and then the other makes the first one work more effectively. So they bring out the best in each other. They don't potentiate the way like a quercetin and metformin or berberine and metformin might, right? How they do the same thing. They complement. And so quercetin is a little bit better at antioxidant activity and bromelain's a little bit better at anti-inflammatory, but they both kind of do the same thing. So they just work really well hand in hand. And the bromelain makes sure you digest it. right? Because it's an enzyme. So if you're taking a supplement and there's bromelain in it, you're sure to digest and absorb it a lot more easily.
Okay, cool. That's so good to know. All right, well, I want to give someone this. I know Abby's been ready for trivia since we started. So let's play our game of trivia. And let's do it. 360 Abby says, I love how Dr. Jackie explains things. Yes, totally. All right, so all you guys have to do to win this is be the very first person. You're not going to win this one. This one's mine, but you'll win a new bottle. All you have to do is be the first person to answer correctly in our chat. And here is our question today. Who has the strongest immune system? A, females, B, males, C, children. So who do you think has the strongest immune system? A, females, B, males, C, children. Okay. Get our answers in.
What is one? What is children?
What is one? A. She's saying, Abby said A. A is females. Females. And T. Griffin said children. Okay, well, our answer is Abby. You're right. It is females. So you were ready to win, and you came ready, and you got that right. So the answer is females. To claim your bottle of Middle World Immune Support, just send an email to winner@middleworldherbs with Winner Immune in the title. We'll put that info in the chat for you too. And I actually was thinking children too. So Dr. Jackie, why females? And I mean, I'm excited for that, but why females? Why do we have the strongest immune system?
I laughed so hard when I got this question. I cannot tell you how many patients and friends and family members say, why when I get sick, I still have to schlep the kids around and go to work and cook dinner when I get home. But when he gets sick, oh my gosh, the world is over, right? He can't leave bed. It's hit him so hard, you know, AKA men are babies. And I just think it's so funny. I don't know, do you experience that same thing or something similar?
Well, I said it's called a man cold. It's got an actual
title. Man cold. Okay, so you have firsthand experience being married, you know, and having a partner. So you know, and I hear it all the time, but it's actually innate. That is how we are built. They really are having that hard of a time because their immune system is not as strong as ours. And so there are a lot of different evolutionary theories behind it, but it really comes down to genetics. We are just built stronger. We can overcome trauma more. We have a higher pain tolerance, and we have a much stronger immune system, making us less likely to have infection and get sick. We've also had, you know, if you look at, by and large, this is the pattern, not with every disease, but if you look at major pandemics and if you look at all patterns of illness, men tend to die at higher rates of things like that. They also have an earlier or shorter lifespan than women because of that. And genetically, it's because they're looking at our RNA as females. And what they're thinking, or what some theories are, is because we can give birth or house children. So we have to have an immune system strong enough for ourselves and for them. We have to be able to pass on antibodies to them through the placenta and breast milk and things like that. So the idea is genetically, we are just built a little tougher because we can grow people. That's really the short answer. But
I feel very women empowered right now. I like it.
Right? I mean, you're a mom, you get it. Like, you totally get it.
It's all true, because when we're sick, we're still taking care of the kids, basically. But yeah, that's funny. I actually had a stomach bug not that long ago. My little kids gave it to me, and I got hit hard, like hard. And I called my husband. I was like, you need to come home. It was like 1 p.m. It was like, I'm dying. And I like literally couldn't even stand up. Like I was like crawling up our staircase. And he's like, you're so dramatic. And I was like, already, I was like, I'm not dramatic. I was like, if I'm crawling, like I'm really dying.
Like,
it was just pretty funny. But
I've grown and delivered 2 people. Like if I'm crawling up the stairs, it is not for show. Like, believe me, I would rather be walking up the stairs, you know?
Totally,
no,
totally. It doesn't hurt that I'm married to like an Ironman triathlete, so his pain tolerance is really high. So
really high.
You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, it was just kind of funny. I was like,
sorry, it's the weird Amazon.
No, go ahead.
Sometimes you can't hear what you're about to say. So I didn't mean to interrupt you. I did just want to add to that an important caveat. Women's immune systems are so strong that they're less likely to get infections, but they are so strong that they're more sensitive to becoming overactive, aka autoimmune disease, where the immune system is too strong. It actually starts picking on its own cells, right? And attacking its own body. And so we see a substantially higher prevalence in autoimmune disease in women. So if you're out there suffering from anything like lupus or any sort of, autoimmune disease at all, Hashimoto's, this thyroid stuff, chances are it directly has to do with our genetics and it's innate, right? If you're a female, especially. So I think that that's important to note for women.
Yeah,
and
it's
if you
super
are
important.
suffering, there are ways to help modulate the immune system to calm it down, but still make sure it's effective. So yeah, we are built tougher, but there is too much of a good thing. So just be aware.
I know, you just took that women empowerment and like sucked all the air out of our balloon.
No!
No.
That's not my intention at all. It was actually the opposite.
No, I'm so thankful for all your info. It's such good info. We did get a question that came in. Okay, so Gwen wants to know, should Quercetin and Berberine be treated like a detox, taken in a higher dose at intermittent times, or is it is there a daily recommended dose?
That's great.
And she said also the man cold is 100% a thing.
The man cold is 100% a thing. I love it. See, backing it up. Oh, that's so funny. So when it comes to the quercetin and berberine, I mean, every day we're being exposed to free radicals, right? I think it also is dependent on your job and your lifestyle. And if you live really fast and if you're, higher risk for free radical damage, then definitely take the 500 milligrams or like the full blown every day. I mean, again, if we're filling up the toxicity cup, we need stuff to empty it out regularly. But if we're just, pretty standard, nothing screaming at us, a normal maintenance dose to take here and there outside of a detox for maintenance is great. If you are going to take it during a detox, you can. Just beware if you're taking it alongside a lot of other things at higher doses. If you do experience some of the potential side effects relate to GI disturbance like nausea or vomiting, diarrhea, constipation, if you notice any changes in bowel stuff or a sour stomach a couple hours after taking the combo of everything, maybe back off a little bit and just focus on the detox and then do the anti-inflammatory antioxidant after that to help your body get back on to your normal day-to-day outside of detox. So also if because your husband's a triathlete, I love really, really, really long walks, like absurdly long walks, like 5 miles at once kind of thing. And I noticed that when I don't take antioxidants after that, my joints are a little stiffer the next day. So if you know that you're going to have a competition, if you know that you're going to be hitting it harder at the gym or moving your body more on one day than another, take that little extra dose. It's going to help with repair as well.
Okay, that's so good to know that immune support can do all that. That's amazing. And for anyone
really
that's just jumping, what?
I said it really is.
Oh, yeah.
Sorry.
It really
excited.
is. I know. I'm sorry.
So
The
cool.
delay that we have is so funny. We'll dial it in at one point. We do pretty good though. But if you're just jumping on, we have Dr. Jackie Leone with us today. She's a doctor of naturopathic medicine. And if you guys have any questions, just throw them in the chat. I can read them and she can answer them. And if you guys are loving our series and finding it helpful, please hit that follow button. You can just see it right down there. It says follow. You can also follow at Middle World Herbs on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, YouTube, and TikTok. There's a lot of helpful information out there about medicinal plants, emotional healing, and natural wellness. So you might also be wondering what this little charm is that's attached to all the bottles. This is called a Middle World Whisper. There are these really cool charms that are handmade, and on them they have little mantras and positive sayings. This one on my immune support says, know your worth and add tax. And then it has a little smiley face. I personally think the whispers are super cool, and they actually have a really cool backstory on them too. So the founder of Middle World Herbs was traveling the world, and she visited the archaeological site of the ancient Asclepian temple, which is in Bergama, Turkey. And it was built in honor of Asclepius, who was a physician in 8th century BC. And at this time, this temple was one of the most advanced hospitals, and it was actually the world's first psychiatric hospital. It's now known that they had this really unique practice where patients would slowly walk through this tunnel, and there were these small cracks that would let a little bit of light through, and healers would whisper words of wisdom, positive affirmations, and mantras through those cracks atop the tunnel as the patients walked through it. And some say that those healing whispers can still be heard by the visitors of the temple. So to honor that ancient wisdom of just that power of combining like emotional and physical work together was that idea for the middle world whisper. And that's those beautiful small tokens. Each bottle is going to be a different one. So you'll always get different ones. And then you can keep them after, like you could attach it to a bracelet or have it just around your house. They're really cool just to have on hand and great for a mindfulness practice or just when you need a little pick-me-up. And we have 2 more incredible supplements to share. I have the Middle World Berberine HCl 40. We'll be talking about that one. And then we have the berberine with bitter melon and banaba leaf. So Dr. Jackie, I'd love to learn a lot more about the properties of berberine. Is it an antioxidant?
It has some antioxidant properties. It is not as powerful as quercetin, but its secret power is because it's called an alkaloid. So every plant I like to think has a superpower. If I'm using it medicinally, it's because it has a superpower. Is it going to kill bacteria? Is it going to help a joint? How's it going to function in the body, right? Because if it's happening in the plant, it's going to happen in the body. So I'm going to take it. Well, in the case of berberine, which is this really delicious kind of like burnt orangey yellow color, which I love. People sometimes confuse it with turmeric, which it's not. But anyway, alkaloids are naturally occurring in plants. And again, it's part of what I mentioned before, where it's like self-protection, metabolism, storage. So an example of an alkaloid would be how the opium poppy plant makes morphine. So for any of you who may or may not know that, morphine is derived from the poppy plant because of that alkaloid ability. Caffeine is an alkaloid from the coffee bean. And so we get berberine as an alkaloid from the berberis plant family. Also things like Oregon grape and golden seal and stuff. But anyway, that alkaloid's magical power, not like pain sedation like the morphine or, jacking you up and reducing, cortisol and stuff like that, and giving you that attention span like caffeine. So each alkaloid is different and unique. And so for berberine, it's highly anti-proliferative, which means it stops the growth of stuff, bacteria, viruses, insects, fungi, cancer cells, immune cells. Basically, if it's going to cause a problem in the body, berberine's on the job, right? It has so many superpowers, but those are just the handful that I utilize regularly with patients when I do give them berberine. So I'm pretty sure I answered all the questions.
Yeah, no, that's great. You sold me on it.
Was it an antioxidant?
I pulled out the capsules. I wanted to show
Let me
you guys
go on
the
a
color.
tangent
I hope
again.
you guys can see that beautiful bright yellow color.
Ooh,
Both
see?
of them have that
Yeah,
really
it's
pretty.
So beautiful, right? It's such a cool color.
It's so pretty. I know. It's like the brightest yellow. I love it. And actually the supplement has an unprecedented 97% purity confirmed by third-party testing.
Whoa.
And berberine with bitter melon and banaba leaf has like a slightly, less yellow color, but I truly can't even tell the difference. Like to me, they look both the same bright. They're veggie capsules, 60 per bottle. And the berberine HCl 40, that one's going to be $18.99, and the berberine with bitter melon and banaba leaf is $20.99, but you're also getting 20% off if you check out during this live. So definitely do that. And we often get asked, oh, okay, so we have 2 berberines. Why would you take one over the other? So how does someone choose, or do you take both? How do you choose, Dr. Jackie?
So I think to me, the biggest indicator between the berberine plain and the berberine with the bitter melon is diabetes, to be honest with you, because again, bitter melon and berberine work together to lower blood sugar. So if you have insulin resistance, if you have diabetes and you want to try a different route, if you're being managed with medication and you're not insulin dependent yet, and you want to explore herbs, the one with the bitter melon, the combination, is going to be more powerful. So if you have all of those issues, that's when I would get the bitter melon. Or if you have a diet really high in sugar and you want to prevent the insulin resistance stuff, or the pre-diabetes as it's known, then yeah, pack a harder punch. Definitely get the bitter melon. If you maybe don't have that issue, your family history, right, doesn't have a whole lot of diabetes, your diet isn't crazy high in sugar, but you want all the added benefits of the alkaloid activity of a berberine, then I would definitely just stick to the pure berberine in and of itself. So to me, clinically, that's where I see the difference. Also, if you have hyperlipidemia, which is high cholesterol, it's a fancy word for high cholesterol, then I would consider the bitter melon as well. So the insulin resistance or diabetes, and then the high cholesterol, just because it's stronger, it's going to be more powerful. There's more herbs working together, and the more herbs we can get working together, sometimes the better the effect. It just depends on the person. So someone with a more complex health picture is going to require a little bit more complex supplement, right? Or diet or something like that. Where somebody with more straightforward health, the straightforward supplement should do the job.
Okay, that's awesome. And a quick reminder for anyone, if you guys have questions too, don't forget to put them in the chat. Now, what about precautions? Is there anything we should watch out for when taking berberine? Like, could you be on it for too long? Anything like that?
Oh, definitely. So anything that again is lowering blood sugar, you want, or changing the viscosity of blood, or clotting the blood's ability to clot, which is important for like wound healing and to clean up any damage. So if you're taking any sort of medications that do those same things, berberine on top of that is a contraindication, which means should not be mixed. So some medications that slow blood clotting, like aspirin, Plavix, if you're on anything like that, please be careful. It also might cause digestive changes and issues. So if you are taking a lot of drugs that need to be digested, maybe don't take the berberine with all of those medications, even if there's not an interaction. You just want to give your digestion kind of a break, one thing at a time. Also contraindicated with insulin controlling drugs like we just talked about, so stuff like metformin. You really want to be careful when it comes to berberine. And just long term, anything that's this powerful, like quercetin, like bromelain from pineapple, even like berberine, anything with that's an alkaloid, or there is too much of a good thing. And so over time, if our body has liver issues, cirrhosis, fatty liver, just talk to your doctor. It could be totally fine, and it could mildly interact with those medications or the liver function. So just talk to your doctor about it, and they should definitely be able to give you the green light or not.
Okay, cool. And there's a lot of scientific evidence with berberine's benefits. You kind of went into some of that, but a quick search on PubMed returns over 6,000 scientific publications. So what are some of the highlights for us that don't want to read 6,000 publications?
So I made like kind of a short list next to the publication list I had for my resources to share with you guys, and it's so funny. It looks like it almost looks like it's an ad. Like bacteria, check. Antimicrobial. Inflammatory cells, check. Anti-inflammatory action. You got free radicals, stress and damage, check. Antioxidant. Cancer cell growth, check. It's anti-proliferative, meaning it won't, it prevents them from growing. It's also what's called an anti-metastatic. So metastatic cancers, when cancer starts in one place and then migrates to another place. And berberine is great at preventing that metastasizing or that migration from one place to another. So it keeps it local and it keeps it small, right? And then I have hypoglycemia or hyperglycemia, check, helps lower blood sugar. High cholesterol, check, lowers that too. Like, it's just this laundry list of things. It works in so many capacities because of its alkaloid properties, right? So think about caffeine and morphine. Again, so powerful, right? Some people can just smell caffeine. or have a sip and be affected. And so it's such a powerful, powerful plant with all of those things and all of those publications. And again, that's just the tip of the iceberg. So if you guys want to know more, just let me know, and I'm more than happy to fill in.
Awesome. So good. Okay, well, if you have not bought Middle World Berberine HCl40, $18.99 right now. We'll make it more of an ad. Check. You guys need to get that. And then the one with bitter melon and banana leaf, that one's only $20.99, but you're also getting an additional 20% off. So you're getting a really good deal for it. And you just have to check out during this live to get that extra 20% off. Also, really quick reminder, the return policy is insane. So you have 60 days. That means you can take your supplements risk-free. If you're like, I don't see a difference, you can actually return the bottle half full and still get a full refund. So there's no risk. So you might as well, it's like a great way to try something. I think you'll find though that you're going to see a difference. And if you guys are just jumping on, we'd love to give you guys a little mini recap of the products that we have shown today. Our theme has been the power of antioxidants, and we're highlighting the benefits of immune support with Corsetin. And this one's just like an antioxidant powerhouse. Then we had Berberine HCl40, which in addition to fighting free radicals is also really good for blood sugar support and helping boost the metabolism, which I know a lot of us all want a fast metabolism. And then this one, Berberine with bitter melon, is really good supplement if you're dealing with a toxic overload, especially if you've had a lot of sweet foods or you have like a crazy sweet tooth. So those are really good for that. And another amazing thing about Middle World Herbs that I want to share with you guys is that we plant a tree for every single supplement purchase. So if you buy a bottle and a tree is planted, it's 1 for 1, which is so cool. And we've partnered with One Tree Planted to join them on the global reforestation mission. So not only are you helping your own body, you're helping planet Earth when you buy your supplements. All right, well, Dr. Jackie, as we get ready to wrap up, if you could have everyone leave knowing the top 3 most important things about antioxidants, what would those be?
Oh man, okay, so only 3?
You can go 4 or 5, it's fine.
So I think the number 1 thing to remember about antioxidants is they're happy cells and they're free lovers. Like, that's how I think of them, is they're giving away their electrons, their love, to unhappy, unfulfilled cells, right? Free radicals that lack that electron. They're just giving it away and making them happy. So they spread cellular happiness is the way I think of it. They neutralize. They're like the calm, cool, chill person in the group, dealing with the confrontation, making sure everyone gets along. So antioxidants, I just think of happy cells. I think, giving away that free love. The second thing I think about is eating the rainbow. Because the more colors, the more flavonoids we get, the more phytonutrients we get, and the more differentiated the antioxidants we're getting are. We're not just getting it from one source, right? We're getting it from so many different sources. So different body parts and systems that respond differently to different antioxidants will have their choice, really, because we're using food as thy medicine, as Hippocrates says. So I think the third thing about antioxidants is just try to remember BCE, or at the very least just the letter C. B for beta carotene, to me at least, C for vitamin C, cruciferous vegetables, right, citrus foods, and then vitamin E. Vitamin E is different than those because those are water soluble. Vitamin E is fat soluble. So think like nut butters and plant oils. That's where you're going to get the vitamin E. But if you can stick to the BCE, and eat the rainbow, you guys are going to get probably, I don't want to make promises, but you will see benefits and physical, mental, emotional changes the more and more you eat, because they're happy cells. They're just giving away their electrons, making everybody happy. So yeah, those are the 3 things: happy cells, eat the rainbow, and BCE.
Love it. Okay, that's super awesome. If anyone has any questions, throw them in the chat because we are going to be wrapping up here soon, but we have a little bit of time. And if you guys are loving our show, make sure you hit the follow button. It is a great way for us to all stay connected on Amazon Live, and you can also follow Middle World Herbs on social media. We go live about 2 times a week, Tuesdays and Fridays at 4 p.m., and we have Dr. Jackie on Fridays. So, and you're going to join us on Tuesdays too, right? Is that right? Maybe?
I'm hoping to. Yeah, I will hopefully.
Okay, awesome. To be determined, but hopefully. Yeah. So always have your questions ready, and each week we kind of do different topics. So next week we're going to talk about stress, mood, and cognitive health. So don't miss out on that one. So let's see.
So important.
Abby just says, what?
I said that's so important. The stress and cognitive health.
So important, it's such a right? I can't wait to hear all your knowledge on that.
Yeah.
Stress, I mean, who doesn't have that? Christy said, what's the name of the enzyme in pineapple? Bromelain?
That's called bromelain. Bromelain. B-R-O-M-E-L-I-A-N. Bromelain.
Bromelain. And you're going to find that one in the immune support. There's even like a little picture of a pineapple on there. So that's the one there. Supports respiratory health, antioxidant properties, and helps with healthy skin and joints as well. Cool. All right. Well, you're always a great guest, and you have such great knowledge and energy. So it's exciting to know you'll be doing more of it with us. But feel free to say your goodbyes or anything else you want to add before we wrap up here.
I just really appreciate that my friends and family are taking time to join in and ask questions and are genuinely curious, and that we are slowly but surely building an audience together where we can just empower people through education and high quality supplements. And today, honestly, was I learned about the tree, and every bottle sold a tree slated. I fell in love with that idea. That is so beautiful, and I love that.
Super cool.
Yeah, it is super cool. It's like you're passively helping the environment and leaving your mark in some way, non-directly, which I think is very, very powerful. So I just wanted to thank everybody, and thank you, and thank everybody and everything that goes into the productions. And I'm super excited for future sessions for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, that's one thing that sold me on the company to work with them too. It's not just like the tree planted, which I thought was so cool, but like the whispers and like just all the like intentional thought that goes into it. It's not just like, here's a dietary supplement, take it. It's like, here's a dietary supplement that's helping the world, helping you, and helping your mental health, which I think is so cool. So, and I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think these are printed on recycled paper. Like everything is like very intentional.
They are, yeah.
Yeah, so and then everything is made in a GMP certified facility, which is the highest level you can be. If you don't see a GMP on your supplements, don't buy them. Like that's something I've learned, and it's formulated here in the USA. So definitely like really high quality. Everything's tested by third party for purity and potency too. So that's really good. Awesome. Okay, well, I think we're able to wrap up. So I'm just going to thank you all as well for joining us. It's always a pleasure to have you on. I'll try to get my family and friends to start joining too, so we can get lots of questions. And thank you guys for the follows. That means a lot to us. That really helps us grow on Amazon, and then that helps more people find this show. So tell your friends to watch as well, so we can kind of get boosted up a little higher. And then more people will learn this like incredible knowledge. And just hope you guys all have a very healthy, relaxing, beautiful night ahead of you. And we'll see you on Tuesday. Bye, everyone.
Thank you, everyone. Good night.
Hear the whispers from within, balance to restore, ailings to relieve. Feel the nature keeping us, nature healing us. Flowers, leaves, and roots within. Hear the mind calming you, soothing you. Love and kindness inside out. Let the herbs from Middle World heal. Welcome wellness, welcome wellness. It's revealed herbs, Middle World herbs.